Hello, my name is Anneshia Freeman. I'm also known as the Locksmith because I make keys for people who are locked up in their minds. I'd like to welcome you to 5 Minutes with the Locksmith, which is a video that I make once a week. Today's topic is the free key syndrome, the price of freedom versus the price of bondage. The subtitle is you're going to pay somebody. This topic is actually taken from an article that I wrote back in 2014 for my biweekly column in the Grand Rapids Times. So I'm going to tell you the opening quote that I used in that particular article. I always have an opening quote for my article. They're usually from famous and well-known wise people. But for this particular topic, I wrote the quote myself, the opening quote. So here it is. I'm amazed that jailers can convince prisoners who pay rent on their cells not to purchase a key because the key should be free. Now I'm going to say that quote again, and I'm using all those terms as an analogy. So all of the words like jailer and prisoners, they all had quotation marks around those words. But I'm going to say it again. I'm amazed that jailers can convince prisoners who pay rent on their cells not to purchase a key because the key should be free. The price of freedom versus the price of bondage. You're going to pay somebody. So let's talk about that, how that looks in everyday life. So first, let's go way back in Anneshia's tragic past. For people who don't know my story, you can find it online. It's been featured on the 700 Club and in several newspaper articles. I'm in recovery from drugs and alcohol. I'm a master's level therapist now, but years ago, about 16 years ago, I had a really, really bad drug problem. And I lived in Detroit, Michigan. And there was times, I remember this one particular time when I had went to this very nice restaurant to get something to eat. And at that time, back then, it was a long time ago, the price for the meal was kind of pricey. And I remember complaining about this good, nutritious, well-prepared, healthy meal that I was eating, which didn't happen often. And I was mad about the price. But I was spending hundreds of dollars every day on some chemicals that was destroying my body, destroying my mind, terrorizing my personal life. And so I think it hit me somewhere when I was walking out of the restaurant, grumbling and complaining. I'm like, you need to shut up. You're paying for your bondage every day, but you don't want to pay for something that's actually helping you not die. So that's the extreme example of the free key syndrome. Willing to pay for your bondage, but don't want to pay for your freedom. And so let's talk about a more relevant topic to everyday life, because most people hopefully are not living that dysfunctional of a lifestyle. But there's a lot of people who will pay for their bondage. Like I've heard, I tell people how much my gym membership costs, which is it's a little pricey, $70 a month, and compared to, some other places. But I just like the level of services that they offer. And some people like $70 a month, but they will spend that much money each month at a fast food restaurant. And they're reaping the benefits of spending their money there. You know what I'm saying? It's like the bondage. You can pick your pain. That's a group I do with my youth. And for my youth program, I think I'm going to have to start using that same topic in my adult program. Pick your pain, destructive pain or productive pain, the price of bondage versus the price of freedom. We can use this same topic as it relates to negative relationships. There are a lot of people who are bound into a negative relationship, and it's costing them mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Destructive relationships are financially costly. They drain your energy. They drain your spirit. They can actually take the light out of your spirit. You ever looked at somebody and looked them in the eyes and it's like the light went out. And so A lot of people, they don't want to pay the price to be free, meaning that even if they do leave one negative relationship, they want, I'm looking at the time, I am going to go over 5. I started to say 7 minutes with a locksmith, so it's going to be 7 minutes with a locksmith today. They won't pay the price to be free from the negative relationship. So they'll get out of one negative relationship, and instead of taking some time to figure out what's going on with me, why do I keep attracting these people, these types of people? It's not a coincidence. You're the casting director of your life. And so they won't spend any money on therapy. They won't go to any workshops on healthy relationships. They don't want to buy a book about a person's experience on getting out of unhealthy relationships and staying out. You know, the price of freedom versus the price of bondage. You're going to pay somebody. So this is what I recommend. And you can look at this as it relates to lots of things like poverty. Being poor is expensive. I know that's an oxymoron, but a lot of people, they hear about the cost of college or vocational training and the cost of the books and all. I don't want to pay all of that. Well, pick your pain. You're paying every day. You feel unfulfilled every day. You're working 2 or 3 minimum wage jobs, barely surviving. You wake up every day with no sense of purpose except to pay the rent and the lights. You don't feel that there's anything meaningful about what you do every day. That's expensive. This is the only life you have. This is not a dress rehearsal. And so I'm gonna end with the recommendation that I put in the article. You can actually reallocate the resources from your bondage to your freedom, to your pursuit of freedom. It's a process. But you can actually, if you decide to call cut on the bondage that you're in, whether it's a negative relationship, being unhealthy, being overweight and unhealthy, or being trapped in poverty, whatever bondage you decide to call cut on, you can actually reallocate the resources you were using to maintain your bondage to the pursuit of freedom. Freedom is not free. There's a cost associated with freedom, and you're gonna pay somebody. So pick your pain. All right, that's all I have for today. If you want to get in touch with me, my name is Anneshia Freeman of Anneshia Freeman and Associates Consulting Services. We address cause and effect simultaneously. My website is AnnesiaConsulting.com. Anneshia is spelled Anneshia. Talk to you next week.